So now,
Whoa, what a day, what a day, what a day. Oh my God, it's Friday. How you doing, everybody? Jesus Christ, you see what's going on in the gold diamond world? World's falling apart. Oh, well, never mind. It's a good thing that I'm streaming then. Where the hell's my mic gone? Oh, there it is.
speak louder.
Wow, I just got in the chair because why is it such an emergency? Is the price of gold is flying, the S&P's collapsing, the world is falling to pieces before the very corners of our eyes, and it's like, meanwhile, we're making money hand over fist. How does that happen? Are the people at Bloomberg doing this? Or are they just busy transmitting falsehoods on behalf of the elite financial sector that is, you know, basically a fraud, one giant fraud? And you know that if you are a sentient human being with a brain that has more bandwidth than the old 14.4 baud modem.
I've got an important announcement to make.
Ed, your mic has fallen off.
Really?
Yeah. We need better clips.
Okay,
we need vice grip mic things.
Can
for
anybody
Ed
hear me?
And me.
Okay.
What's that?
So here's what I want to tell you. Gold right now is at the highest it's been in about, this is another 7-year high. Well, if it's 6.5, it may be 6.5, but it's never been this high in the last 6-7 years. Right now, right as we speak, it's 14 on the future month, 1544. No,
Oh my
sorry.
God!
No, I say that. I said it wrong.
Well, I'll tell you
I'm
what,
looking
Ed.
at the GLD Trust. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the
so
the
gold's
ETF.
up on the GLD Trust. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. In other words, gold looks like to be at an all 6.5, 7-year high right now.
No kidding. How did it get there?
Well, something happened today. I guess it's to do with this speech by Powell. Is
that and
plus,
China just threatened $75 billion more in tariffs.
Oh, yeah.
As a result of Trump tweeting earlier today that we don't need China. And so China turns around and says, okay, we're going to put $75 billion more tariffs on American automobiles, soybeans, and oil. And they stopped buying Venezuelan oil. It's just like, this shit is going so sideways.
You know what? This is why people in power, it's all about the lunacy of the emperor. Like, when you get that much power, power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? Like, power...
Well, look at...
absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Especially when you're dealing with, put a clown in
Nietzsche.
power, look what happens.
Well, you know what? Jack be nimble, Jack be quick.
Jack jumped over the candlestick. Yeah.
No, this could be, I think with the markets have moved up now 11 years in a row. Like, if you look at the S&P over the, why would I?
Yeah, well, so Jerome Powell's speech was interesting because he characterized it as the challenges of monetary policy. And he basically goes on to break down the era of monetary policy into 3. And era 1 being, he starts at 1946. And it's like, really, 1946, you're going to start your discourse on explaining the challenges of monetary policy in 1946? Like, what about 1850? What about 1825? Anyways.
They managed to botch it up all the time, ultimately, right?
So Jerome Powell gives a speech at Jackson Hole basically categorizing the United States as having achieved all of its economic targets, with the main achievement being inflation at 2%. Now, this is interesting to me because, okay, so if you're going to tell me that price inflation has only averaged 2% per year, that's really a creative metric, because the monetary inflation in that time frame is many thousands of percent. So this is the thing. It's like, okay, if you're going to talk about monetary policy,
you know how things are bad? That's straight
you
up.
might want to show the people out there.
Look
at that.
So that's how bad things are, folks. That's why when you're out there losing ground, you can know that the rich of the planet have enjoyed almost bottom
answer
left.
Answer me this. Looking at that chart.
Yeah.
Looking at that chart.
Look, that's hardly a blip.
Looking at that chart. Now, anybody you said this is evidence that times are bad would be like, what the fuck are those guys smoking? That chart is a straight up best case scenario chart.
Duh. But yet the average guy is losing ground.
Well, so this is how you know this is fraudulent. Is your paycheck, has your expendable income gone up like that over the same time period? No. So somebody's enjoying that kind of a rise in a standard of living.
Could it be
but it ain't us.
The elitists?
The elite.
Why don't we become the elite?
Because we're not welcome there. We are not properly born and bred.
Maybe we're not smart enough to be there.
We are not. Maybe. Speak for yourself there. Yeah. Well, no, actually, that's true. That's actually I can pretty much guarantee.
If you think about that, I mean, you got to be a bit cutthroat to get to that group. I think.
No, I think in that what you have to be able to do is stick your nose up someone's ass. Know whose ass needs your nose up it.
What if you got a really big nose? Is that going to cause a problem for the other person?
Well, it depends on their predispositions and their inclinations.
On what lotions they buy.
What lotions they buy. If they've lubed up their nose with CBD oil.
Jeez.
That might be.
Well, that's another. We're going to lose more people from the diocese. Anyway.
Yeah, let's see what is happening on our show today.
So the S&P's getting crushed.
S&P's getting crushed. Garcio Fonseca here, probably on the most timely basis. He's the CEO of Goldplay Exploration.
That's a Brazilian play, I believe.
Nope, Mexico. Mexico.
He's from Brazil.
He's Brazilian.
There you go.
But anyways, yeah, so they've got a real interesting silver project in Mexico, and price of gold is up at this. It's rose by $30 after Trump tweeted out that we don't need China. China promptly shot back that we're going to level $75 billion more in tariffs against automobiles, soybeans, and oil. And the result is gold goes up. So, but also driving the price of gold is if you read carefully, and you're going to need to read Jerome Powell's speech several times before you can actually figure out what it is he's saying.
It's a bit of a history story, isn't it?
Well, it rewrites history in a most inventive way. It's amusing. It's like a fairy tale. It's like if you were sitting in a golden palace with one-way glass and it only looked out on the blue sky, and if it was cloudy and raining, the curtains closed and you saw an image of a blue sky. That's who wrote this, is a guy who had that for his view. He doesn't, he categorizes the entire last 80 years of
Did you read the full...
the full thing. The U.S., I'm on my third time through right now, and I still can't figure out what the hell.
Does he make any crazy prognostications, for instance? Does he say that
No,
nothing?
there's nothing.
So there's really nothing there.
There's nothing there. It's fluffy, and it's like basically saying it could go either way, but it should go up because monetary policy in the U.S. has been so successful over the last 80 years. But it says they could elect to cut rates and ease taxes because that would be consistent with the successful monetary policy of the last 80 years. So you can see that Jerome Powell is doing his best to hang on to his job and appease the moron-in-chief in the White House, who is, quickly losing ground with his constituents. I love it when I see guys laughing. They're like this. He's in for another 5 years.
He's
going to be for another 4 years.
I want to make a point here too. Like we're talking maybe some doom and gloom here, but
we're not talking doom and gloom.
But back in 2008, this chart I have here is the S&P for the last 20 years.
Let's see it. Whoa.
So let's see if this works. Yeah, it does. Okay.
How about that? All right, what do we got?
Okay, hold on.
What do we got? Technical analysis?
Here we go. So the point is, this looked like the world fell apart when there was the Lehman, all that shit. So that was that. We've now, look at this. Look at this move. So these are very brief. These go on for a long time. So even if we have a crunch here, maybe a year from now, year and a half from now, you load the truck.
Yeah, well, this is interesting to me. It's like, okay, so leading up to the financial crisis, things were really good. Then things fell out of bed. But looking at that chart, things are now 3 times better than they ever were. Is that what we're supposed to take away from that?
Look, the market was invented for poor people to have their money taken away from shrewder people.
Right.
That's about it.
Well, not necessarily poor people. I mean, there are wealthy people losing their shirts every single day.
Well, but ultimately, the real great ones, you go to cash and wait until everything's 10 cents on a dollar, and then load the truck and then beat the drum. Anyway, so I don't know how else to say it. Anyway,
yeah,
I'm gonna listen.
So it's interesting that that monetary policy is categorized by Jerome Powell as this being the 11th year of the expansion.
And that chart, there's your 11 years, right?
Right, but that is not representative of an expansion in the quality of life or the expendable income of people on the street. That's the only representative of the expansion in the capital representations of numbers and zeros on the balance sheet of central banks everywhere. And the rest of us,
if you're
there's
crazy,
no more money
if
here.
you're crazy and you're broke, you're still crazy.
If you're crazy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're crazy and you know it, clap your hands.
No,
if you're crazy and you know it and you really want to show it. If you're crazy and you know it, clap your hands. Yeah!
That's what we like to see.
Yeah, crazy people
Thanks for
everywhere.
the support, guys.
Yeah.
Look,
well,
anyway, we've had a run.
Yeah.
We've had a run. This
Yeah.
is a run, and yet people are jumpy. In
run
other
off
words,
the cliff like a bunch of
the
fucking
more
lemons.
you really look at things, you say money has really absolutely nothing to do with how you feel.
Yeah.
You think it does,
No.
but it doesn't.
No.
I don't think it does.
Nah. Let's talk to news nurse Suzanne Garcia with the news.
Here's what's making cannabis headlines this Friday, August 23rd. 48 North Cannabis has entered into a definitive agreement to acquire Rare Industries Inc. for approximately $2.1 million US. Rare Industries is a U.S. multi-state vape technology brand with product distribution in Oregon and Washington and near-term expansion plans for California and Nevada. The acquisition marks 48 North's first foray into the United States. Ianthus Capital Holdings has received approval from the Florida Office of Medical Marijuana Use to open dispensaries in Lakeland and Gainesville, Florida, as well as the previously announced dispensary in North Miami. This will bring the company's total number of dispensaries in the state to 8. Avocana Inc. announced that subsidiary Santa Marta Golden Hemp has completed its first export of purified CBD isolates from Colombia to Canada for research and development purposes. Health Canada issued 3 authorizations to SMGH on June 28, 2019 to allow for the import of CBD isolates and cannabis resin into Canada from Colombia for scientific purposes. Rubicon Organics has closed its overnight marketed short-form prospectus offering of 3.1 million units of the corporation at a price of $2.70 per unit for aggregate proceeds of $8.5 million. Each unit is comprised of 1 common share and 1 common share purchase warrant of the corporation at a price of $3.50 per warrant share. The corporation intends to use the proceeds from the offering for the continued optimization of its Delta, BC facility. And that's your news for today. If you want to hear more about the cannabis sector, check out Cannabis Daily at MidasLetter.com.
Yeah, that's the news. That's some of the news. There's the news. That's the news. The news.
When does news become olds?
Well, after it's been disclosed.
How much, like I said, like a day, a week?
Well, each word, as soon as it's uttered by a talking head, is now olds.
Do you think the people at CanTrust are a little thinking like, what just happened? Like,
CanTrust?
Well, you know, it ran up. Everybody became rich. Now, do you think they're nervous? Do you think the money's making them happy?
The people at CanTrust, I think, are
nervous,
contemplating, drastic measures to. Well, I imagine they're just lawyered up all to hell, and they're like building a defense, and their lives have completely changed. This is what happens in a bull market. You can make out like a bandit and ride off into the sunset, or you can make out like a bandit and have the whole fucking posse on your ass for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And clearly, that's what's happening to some select executives. CanTrust now being the poster child, but there are others out there for whom the bell does toll. And it's just a matter of time till all those stories come to light. Anytime there's an explosion in an asset class, the genuine builders of wealth arrive on the scene, closely followed by the genuine charlatans. And we've got a few of those in every industry, as is known. Let's take a look at the price of gold here. Now, the gold for December 2019 delivery is up $30 at $1,537.80 on COMEX.
It is, eh? That's what. Yeah, I that may not have taken it a new high, but it's certainly the ETF has, the GLD in the U.S. has. Okay.
Yeah.
So what about that?
Yeah. Now I'm confused. Okay. Anyway, so and then the gold spot price is at 1527.82. So this is the interesting thing. Usually you'll see the spread between the spot price and the 3-month out future much closer in price. So the fact that the 3-month look is a full $10 ahead of the spot price makes me think that, okay, this is what you call a galloping runaway gold price, which ultimately is reflected in the S&P in a true gold bull situation, but in a latent sense. So you'll see that this tells me that the S&P is going to fall right out of bed on Monday. Barring, of course, Trump coming up with some absolute lie and further fraud on the American people that the mainstream financial media nonetheless project and thereby legitimize. So
I've got the GLD chart up here for the last, ever since it came out. It came out in 2005. Okay, so this is the big ETF. Right. This supposedly tracks it as good as anything, okay?
All right.
But just look at this. This chart, that's why all these guys like Moby, they're looking at this and they're saying, this could go, I'm going to throw out some numbers here. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. Look at that move. You see that move? And then we had this major correction. And then back in 2015, it broke that trend. And that said, okay, we're not going lower anymore. And everybody kept talking about gold shit. It bases for 2 or 3 years. Now we've broken out of that base. Gold could go to $5,000-$10,000. Juster, I heard somebody tweeted, Juster said, this will be the gold run of all runs. This will make everything else look. And it might happen because of technical,
I've seen arguments for gold at 10,000, 12,000, 14,000, 53,000.
Yeah, we didn't know what the marijuana stocks were going to do, so how could we ever know what the gold's going to do?
We knew what the marijuana stocks were going to do. This was completely as predicted.
But I meant we didn't know how high. You never know you know the direction maybe, but you never know how.
I still think that the total market cap of the cannabis space is a fraction of what it's going to be in 10 years. Right now they're projecting $200 billion market cap for the cannabis space. I think that it ultimately is laughably minute when you consider all of the applications for CBDs and THC. So even back in 2014 when we were predicting crazy prices and guys were shaking their heads and saying, you're absolutely full of shit. It's like, well, okay, maybe we're not. Maybe you thought we were, but we're not. And it's not over. It's nowhere near over. The S&P, and if the entire stock market globally goes south because of combined recessionary factors, then the cannabis space is certainly going to follow that trend, but it will come roaring back as soon as there's any sign of a reversal.
Can I just make another comment that this just came to me from on high.
Outer space?
Yep. So if you look at this long-term chart of gold, you can see that what I'm just saying, there's definitely been a break here, and now it's rolling up, and we got,
You're not seeing anything over there.
Hold on a second.
Let's see. Get Ed's magic pen running.
Here we go.
We got to get...
That line's been broken. That base has now been breached the upside. You put up a chart of the S&P.
What the hell's going on? Oh,
there you go.
It's running at dead slow today for some reason.
The other point but if you look at the S&P chart, you can't even see the bobble in it.
No. Bobble?
Like it doesn't even look like it's scary yet. Like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, what happens if it drops 20%? You know what? Duh. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's coming. I'm sure that's coming. Interesting on our heat map up there of the cannabis space. Poor Chiron is sucking hind tit down there, down 11.43%.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Afri is up 2.7%, is the best performer on that heat map. But let's take a look at our beloved chart here. Where the hell did they go? Damn it, I hate it when this happens. Okay.
And the S&P today, jeez.
S&P?
No, shitting pee-pee.
Ooh, scatological degradation already on the horizon.
Yeah.
That's bad news. Well, it is Friday, and it is. We're going into the final week of
August.
The final week before the Labor Day weekend, and everybody will come back to a market that's absolutely falling to pieces. Here's the indexes at this hour. The large cap index down 1.58 to 73.64. Woo, look at that. Down from its high in, what is that? October of 2018, just before they announced legalization of recreational. It touched a high of 13,390. And now it's at 7,364. So over 50% has been lost by the large cap constituents.
It's look, that chart does not make me want to go out and buy it.
No, because it looks like it could go a lot further.
Well,
let's zoom in on the closer range here. And what do you think about those candles, Ed?
Well, I bet you those candles are burning.
Those candles are burning at both ends.
Burning money. Yeah, well, you know what? Short term, it's difficult to look at things, but there's definitely some trends there that are starting to be. I don't want to say, hey, everybody sell your marijuana stocks, but
right,
just take it easy here for a while.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
You know what?
Take
I
it
wonder
easy.
if rates.
Take it easy.
If rates. That's
no need to worry. Anyways, let's talk to Marcio Fonseca, shall we?
I met this guy.
Any minute now.
You still?
Marcio Fonseca joins me now, CEO and President of Goldplay Exploration. Marcio, welcome.
Thank you, James, for having me here.
You bet. Marcio, you've intercepted some interesting drill results, 204.6 grams per ton gold at San Marcial. Tell me about the San Marcial project. How did you acquire it? What's the history of it? And where's it going?
Yeah, we acquired from a company named SSR Mining. It's a 3-year option. We are the year number 2 now. And we are far ahead of the schedule of the exploration commitments. We have spent a lot of money already there. The property came with 52 holes, and we did a new resource. And we increased the resource by 57% from the previous resource. Mm-hmm. It's a high-grade silver open pit, potentially high-margin project. And on top of that, we realized that not only the resource is attractive, but we have discovered 8 new targets outside of the resource. Just to give a very brief idea, the resource is on a 500 meters strike length. And now we know that the mineralization continues probably close to 6 kilometers.
Oh, wow.
With some sort of old workings and geochemical targets. So that is making us very excited about we can expand the resource. And we are proving that with the brand new result that we got from the drill hole.
Sure, so what does the resource look like at this point?
The resource is 47 million ounces of silver equivalent, 42 probably silver. It's in a specific zone. That's a breccia, it's wide, 15, 20 meters wide on surface. As I said, continues on 500 meters. Grades of 200, 300, even 500 grams per ton silver on the surface.
Really?
And interesting that this property has been drilled really shallow. We are going to drill deep as well, going to the underground workers and put some drill rigs there, because we got evidence that there's continuity of the ore body down deep. And the results that are public domain showed us that we have probably 1-2 meters at up to 1 kilo of silver going down. That's the silver resource.
So does the breccia sort of layout give you some indication that this might be leading to a large porphyry?
We believe that we are probably on the edges because we keep exploring. Again, it's important to say that we are the first company to explore this property after 10 years. This property has been pretty much sitting in the portfolio of another company that was the previous owner, and SSR Mining for 10 years. No drill holes, no geochemical exploration, no geological mapping. So we have 5 geologists there, and they are working all the time on the field with prospectors. That's why we believe there's more than just a silver resource. And now we are proving that we have a gold potential as well.
Wow. So you've got all the funding you need to drill 5,000 meters?
For the first phase, that's 1,000 meters, we have the funding. And But we've been very wise in how to deploy the capital. We got some agreements with the drilling company for the first phase to pay in shares.
Very cool.
And then the second phase, we're going to use part of our money. But since you released the news about the drill hole number 1, we have got more phone calls and more people interested to be part of Goldplay.
Yeah, no doubt. That's interesting. I've been looking for early stage stuff because, as I think everybody can agree, there's a gold and silver market coming, thanks to our friends at the central banks. In this area of Mexico, is there historical mining? Are there existing mines close by?
Historical, and there's an open pit mine that's about to shut down nearby. So it's a historical district, 250 years of mining there. The name of the district is Rosario. It's so important that companies such as Fresnillo is the largest silver producer. They control positions there, which we have a portfolio very next to their portfolio. First Majestic has an exploration property named Plomosas. That's only 5 kilometers from San Marcial. So it's a very active mining industry with small-scale mining operations from Mexican families and Mexican operators. So we are not really in a remote area, good infrastructure, which is very important to define a feasible mining project. So that gives a lot of really positive aspects for the development of the company of San Marcial.
Sure. That's incredible. The Mexican government is obviously, or Mexico rather, is a really mining-friendly jurisdiction, historical mining in the area. What do you see as 6 kilometers of strike, that's remarkably large, even by Mexican standards.
That's really remarkable for the point of view that the geology, the rocks, are showing evidence that you might find mineralization there. We have not found a deposit yet, but we have a lot of smoke, which can give us indications to go and place more trenches, do more drilling, and try to define some new targets.
Right. So the potential to hit a large deposit is quite promising, I guess, given these results.
Yeah, and you have enough area to explore, and we are not limited by the boundaries of any concession. So the targets are pretty much in the center of the concession. So that gives a lot of space to grow and explore.
What is the geological setting of the region?
The region is predominantly a volcanic belt with a lot of volcanic rocks, and it's classic for low sulfidation epithermal deposits. And we are finding more and more evidence of some new discoveries that we have breccias and quartz vein that both are related to the typical epithermal deposits. The resources in a breccia is a hydrothermal breccia, but we have just another discovery that's another target that was released probably a couple of months ago. We got a trench of 24 meters on surface at 2 grams per ton of gold on a target that has a strike length of 500 meters.
Wow.
And inside that trench, you got 5 meters at 4 grams per ton in a quartz vein. So we are drilling that as well too.
Okay, so you've got gold, you've got silver. It's an embarrassment of riches over here. Are you finding that the environment for the receptivity of investors now towards early stage drilling programs like this is improving as a result of the rising price of gold?
Yes, I've seen a material increase in the phone calls and people trying to understand what's Goldplay. And when they realize that Goldplay have both components, we have a resource development stage asset and 250 square kilometers of concessions.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. So you guys have gold, you have silver. What is the program for the rest of 2019?
We are going to be drilling, doing the surface exploration, as well more trenches because they are cost effective. We have a team of close to 20 field workers that have GPS, they can go to the field, and they are ex-prospectors in the area. So together with the 5 geologists, we are going to do a lot of this surface exploration, drill 1,000, 2,000 meters this first phase, adding more, potentially 3,000 the first quarter next year.
And what does your drilling costs look like?
On average, if I'm going to apply on average here, is probably $150 all included.
Right.
Per meter, yeah.
Okay, and you don't have trouble with narco traffickers?
The area is famous because it's very well known by the media that Sinaloa, all the usual suspects, right? I don't need to name them. I've been doing business in Mexico for more than 12 years. And I can say that I have seen a material improvement in the conditions. But of course, the narco industry is part of the whole environment.
Sure.
But we have never experienced anything that could damage the operations for this company there.
Okay, Marcio, that's a great introduction to the company. We're going to follow along your gold exploration, your silver exploration with interest. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Make sure you never miss a show by subscribing to our YouTube channel and clicking on the little notifications bell. If you're interested in getting monthly actionable investment ideas in the cannabis space to your inbox, subscribe to the newsletter at midasletter.com. Too late now.
Monty.
Anyways, so the cannabis space,
Too late now.
people are asking about why we're talking about gold and silver, because if the Dow and the S&P perform the way they've been performing, that means there's going to be no cannabis market until there's a reversal in the Dow and the S&P. So in an effort to preserve your wealth, you're not going to want to cling to your cannabis stocks thinking that this is a buying opportunity, because it won't be a buying opportunity. They're going to go much lower. And so the buying opportunity will come when the S&P and the Dow reverse, which, if this is actually the onset of a recession, might take some time. So don't make the same mistake that everybody did in mining back in 2012 and held on to all of their gold and silver stocks thinking this thing will turn around anytime soon, and not have the staying power to hold on till for 4 years, because that's how long that took. If we go into another recession, it could be a while till the cannabis market comes back, and it might just not.
I think you said that well.
Yeah.
You've summed it up well, and you know, you get on the wrong side of something, and you may be right later on, but you may be able to take your money, go on a holiday, buy the wife a car, you know, something like that.
Buy the wife a car.
Well, buy the I don't know.
What the hell you want
Get
to
a
buy the
couple
wife
more,
a car
get a couple
for?
cats. You know, at the end of the day, take some money off the table. If you got some nice profits, there's going to be some tax loss selling in this sector too, I think, this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't want to get all like monolithic on one sector. Cannabis is the thing. It's been the thing since 2013. It will have its day in its sun, and its day in the sun will fade. So if you're going to cling to one thing, you will find that thing is the thing that takes you to the bottom of the sea for your obsession.
To the bottom of the sea.
Hang on to that anchor.
You ever hear that little ditty? There's a hole in the bottom of the sea.
There's a hole. There's a hole. There's a hole in the bottom of the sea. There's a frog on the bump and a log in the hole in the bottom of the sea. There's a frog on the bump and a log in the hole in the bottom of the sea.
You got a good voice.
There's a hole. There's a hole.
We've discovered a crooner.
Of the sea.
This is James.
My father and my brother and I used to sing that song whenever we would go on long road
Is that
trips.
a cappella?
A cappella.
A cappella.
A cappella.
And you do the different sounds and everything?
No. Hey, did you see that thing where Jimmy Kimmel did with The Who? He did Won't Get Fooled Again, a tiny orchestra with all these musicians playing children's instruments, and they were all stuffed in this tiny little room, and they did Won't Get Fooled Again, and they had Roger Daltrey singing, as well as...
Roger Daltrey?
Yeah.
He's got to be 70 years old.
Yeah. Pete
Townsend?
Pete Townsend was playing the guitar.
How did I know you were going to say that?
We were talking about The Who.
I just took a wild guess.
Good guess! Brilliant guess, Edward.
So
marijuana
stocks keep sliding. Gold's going up.
Gold's going up.
The market,
Yeah. So just to get back to the crowd on the chats who's saying, what the hell are you talking about gold and silver for? This is a cannabis channel. No, this is not a cannabis channel. This is a making money channel. And when there's no money in cannabis, it's time to go somewhere else and keep making money. If you stick to the sector that's ultimately going to revalue at some level where the bottom is unknowable, based on the fact that its health depends on the broader markets, then you need to look for something that acts contradictory to the broader markets. If the broader markets are in free fall, guess what's going up? Gold, silver, oil, eventually copper, zinc.
I just put up a chart here of a company that that's discovered some pretty big intercepts.
Yes.
Great Bear Resources.
Oh, gosh.
And you know what?
We had a chance to buy Great Bear at pennies.
There you go. I didn't. But look at.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people coming out of the woodwork saying this is the world for gold, and that's why we're talking about it. And if you're just thinking about you're buying marijuana stocks and they keep drifting,
Yep.
because the fundamentals don't justify the prices,
Yeah.
at least today.
But let's take a look at some cannabis
Okay,
stocks
let's look at weed.
Green growth brands down 12 cents today, 6.52%.
That's right at the lows, right?
Yeah, so there's the chart on that. Can you say like pretty...
I've got weed up right now. Let's take a look at weed.
Okay.
Okay, now this is well, here we go. This is a 1-year chart. Is that long enough for you?
Still on my chart.
So on this chart,
We're looking at Ed's chart now.
Ed's chart.
Ground control to Major Tom.
There we go.
There we go.
So right off the bat, I can
Whoa!
watch this. Watch this.
Look at that.
See that low there? That was a major low and a major bounce back. Look at that bounce back. Look at that.
Yeah.
Now we've breached that low.
Yeah.
This low is now just a tad lower than that low. And it just seems like, we're probably getting close to a really nice bounce.
Yeah.
But, if we do, let's take some money off the table. Look at this. Look at this. This is accelerating the downside here, which probably means we're getting close to a bottom for a trade. Trade
Well,
a bottom. But I tried trading Tilray last week.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Kicked in the testicles three times in a row.
Yeah, how much did you lose?
About $4,000.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Well, it's because of the currency and everything else. And I was being very disciplined in putting in stops.
So you would have lost more, is that what you're saying?
You know what?
See, I was trading in a very undisciplined fashion in AGG this week. I made about 30 grand in like 3 days.
Really?
Yeah. Trading just on my emotions. On my emotions.
Maybe we should have the emotional channel.
This is the emotional channel.
Jesus.
I trade emotionally.
Okay.
Not technical, not fundamental, emotional.
You know what? You know what? The marijuana sector right now is almost in a steady, inexorable.
Inexorable.
You say potato. Okay.
Yes,
Inexorable.
potato.
Inexorable. It just keeps
Yeah.
like a juggernaut, right? Like
Juggernaut. What is a juggernaut, anyways?
Juggernaut?
Yeah. What's the definition of a juggernaut?
A juggernaut is something that moves what's the word? Inexorably?
Inexorably.
Inexorably. In other words, it keeps moving. Like
Inexorably.
you know what? Don't get in its way because you're going to lose. That's
Really?
what a juggernaut is.
Like a meteor could be said to be a celestial juggernaut.
Yeah.
But what would not be a juggernaut that still nonetheless got forward momentum characterized by inertia and velocity.
Yeah.
Juggernaut, a huge, powerful, and overwhelming force or institution. Institution?
Like the juggernaut of Amazon, perhaps.
Well, the insane asylum is a juggernaut.
That's easy for you to say.
The
You know what?
juggernaut of insanity.
We should go to one here and do a show from there.
What are you didn't know you were in one? This is actually your treatment.
I know. You know what?
You're the patient.
My physician says there's
physician,
an
the genius?
element of psychiatry in all of us. Like it's just a
An
matter
element of psychiatry in all of us.
and it's just a matter of degree.
There's a large gin and olives in all psychiatry.
Gin and olives?
Yeah, martini.
Ooh.
You sounded like you were going to swoon there, Edward.
I was thinking I was,
Ready for a martini? You know,
getting close.
yeah. Do we have any martinis in the house? We've got some.
I gotta look at the S&P here. I gotta make sure I know what's going on before I
Move on. Break on through to the other side. Anyways, okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to look at some more CSE stocks here because why? CSE has been among the principal losers. I don't understand our charts, and I'm going to say ignore the chart because something's wrong there. And I think that we have an investigation ongoing at Quote Media, but nobody can figure out what the hell. Like, look at this chart, eh? Chart. Nothing's like, what the hell is going on with this chart? Like, why that big, huge, gaping maw? Anyways, the quotes are reliable. Willow Biosenses is up 9 cents. Up 15.52% on the day. Willow being one of the biosynthetic purveyors. Look at that volume. Like, you want to talk about non-volume? Oh, this is bad. Anyways, the last time they put out a press release was in July, so clearly the momentum, the forward momentum on Willow Biosciences is kind of gone. It's kind of quiet. Look at that. Mind you, but all the biosynthetic players.
Look at we seem to be, and I can look at a lot of charts, and I can look at this and look at that, but I don't want to make predictions or prognostications, but it seems as though things are eroding. Like
Yes.
you get the sense that the great big bubble, when I say, or balloon, let's say the financial
Bubble
world
or
is
balloon?
a balloon.
Not a bubble.
What do you want? What do you say, bubble or a balloon?
I don't know.
You can't blow the damn thing up forever. At some point, there's got to be some air coming out, and it looks like things are right for a little air to come out. That's what it looks like. And gold sort of suggesting that maybe the great experiment in fiat currencies may be
Over.
coming to an end.
I doubt that the experiment in fiat currencies is coming to an end, but it does look like the current fiat currencies are coming to an end.
You can say that again.
If I can say that again. Say that
you're
3
a
times
genius.
fast.
You're a genius.
I
Jesus, I didn't even know how you figured out how you just said it in the first place.
I don't know how I said that either.
That you know what? I think we have a special kind of genius sitting here on the stage today. A special kind of genius.
Well, which
not a
is
normal,
just-
not just a regular genius. A special kind of genius.
Which is akin to a special kind of lunatic. I'm going to.
Lunacy. Ow!
Okay.
Right.
Now I know what you mean.
Okay, lunatic.
I want to put up on the screen here. Here's some key notes from a transaction that happened. Look at the date there. It's August 23, or actually that's today. But this transaction actually happened in August 14th, 2018. And now I want you to think about this in the context of how the guys at Constellation are feeling.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, this is what you're going to say. And I was thinking, they probably, you know what they probably do in the morning when they go to the bathroom? They probably put their head in the toilet and flush it a couple times just to feel like, am I awake? Like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
And you know what? Those guys, I bet you, they're thinking, geez, someone's going to cover my job.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think Bruce has a ray of light that follows him around the earth and says, Bruce, shit's about to hit the fan. So we're going to pluck you out of there. We're going to put you over here so that you stay out of the harm's way.
Harm's coming, Bruce, so we're going to take care of you.
Exactly. And it looks like, I mean, you look at that, okay, on August 14, 2018, Constellation Brands announced that it would increase its ownership interest in Canopy Growth by acquiring 104.5 million shares directly from Canopy Growth, achieving approximately 38% ownership, then when assuming exercise of the existing warrants. They acquired the new shares at $48.68. Now, what's the let's just look at that. 104.5 million. What's the spread between 48.60 and today's price? What's today's price at?
Today's price is 32 and change Canadian. Okay, I don't know if we were talking U.S.
So 33.60.
Is it 33.60
from 48.60 is 15
bucks.
So $15 times 104 million. That's 1.5 billion. That Constellation is down now.
At least.
Yeah.
No,
15 billion.
15 billion.
15 billion.
15 billion. No. It's 12. It's 12 billion now.
Right.
So from 48 to here is a third.
Right.
Okay, so a third off of. So 2/3 is. So it was 18 billion. That's 6 billion.
Yeah.
6 billion's gone.
Wow.
Now.
Do you think those guys are drinking
you know
Coronas?
what? You know what? I'll bet you that they won't have any inventory to sell because they're drinking it all themselves. You know what? This is
they're drinking it all in a state of misery.
They may have scuttled the mothership. They may have thought.
Now, do you think,
let's
talk about this for a second. Do you think that this devaluation is directly related to firing Bruce Linton? Or do you think Bruce Linton just coincidentally got fired as the whole market went south?
You know, maybe Bruce was smart enough to give them control of the board, because if he gave them control of the board, then they knew they'd be able to get rid of him at some point. And maybe he had it all planned.
Yeah, I've asked him about that a few times. He says that that's not the case. Don't forget, he was quoted in a newspaper locally as saying that he was buying the stock again.
Well,
I think he
we
might
don't
have
know
just
how
bought
many.
500 shares.
Yeah, or 100 shares.
100 shares.
Loading up the truck. No, but,
Yeah, but so Bruce's position since he's left is like $60-70 million down.
yeah.
So would you
Duh.
be adding to that trade if you
No,
were him?
no. What I've learned in my 40 years on,
Crack.
being broke, I would say what I've learned for sure is if something's on your mind, get out of it. And this is a sinking ship right now. Anyway, the price. Look, the company's great. It's doing all, but there's a mismatch between value and.
Okay, so if the large cap cannabis index was at 13,000 as a high,
and it's now
7,600, at what level would you call the Midas Letter large cap index fair value? Is it lower or is it higher?
lower.
Lower. Okay, so you're basing that on valuing the earnings and the performance of a fundamentally, a non-developmental company. You're
Right.
totally discounting
Right.
any speculative
Right.
future value.
And only because the speculative value has already been eroded to such a point that I'm afraid that there's so many people that are now buried. See, there's something that happens when a stock goes down low enough and everybody's like the majority of the population of that stock are underwater, it's almost impossible to come back. That's why bubbles are so dangerous, because it's like Tilray. It hit 300.
Yeah.
And then when that was over, folks, just recall what happened in Japan, in Tokyo, in 1985 with the real estate bubble.
Godzilla came out.
Anyway,
It started eating buildings.
You know what?
That's what's happening in the cannabis space right now. Godzilla is just coming out of the ocean, and he's going to start knocking companies
There's
over.
a lot of people that wish they never heard of the marijuana
Here's
industry.
what happens.
Anyway,
Here's what happens.
but we can also have a nice run here, too.
But here's what happens in a case where new asset bubbles start to revalue to the downside, is the companies stay private. And they stay private until they're achieving good revenue with good margin and EBITDA.
Yeah.
And so the next rise up, what's going to actually cause the reversal in the whole cannabis sector, is when these companies that now are forced to operate under the radar, out of sight, out of mind, are now building value, building businesses, and will not come to the public market until such time as A, the public market for cannabis equities has recovered its health, which means B, they'll get the valuation that makes it worthwhile for them to go public instead of stay private, and then that means C, suddenly there will be all these IPOs that happen, and instead of the IPOs that most recently happened where everything immediately falls out of bed, all these IPOs will march to higher levels because they're based on real numbers. And this is what's happened. This is that netherland between when a market is valued on speculative valuation and where fundamentals need to be brought to the fore. And this is why the market's getting such a discount, is because the relentlessness of the market when it decides to value your industry on fundamentals is such that, well, okay, we've decided this is a fundamental play now. Yes, it's only been 1 year of earnings for these companies, but who cares? Speculative value out, fundamental value, oh, there is none. These things are trading too high, revalue it to where they should be, which in most of these cases would be no more than 5 times earnings if there were earnings.
I can't add to that. I could, but you've already said it. That was quite the
Soliloquy.
soliloquy. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. so look, and look. I'm looking at Village Farms right now. Village Farms. I got the chart up. Okay, I got a 1 year, 2 year chart, and I want to just make out a couple of points here. And this is why, I'm sounding a little maybe biased, but you got a major peak there. Look at that run. Okay, then you got that, and then an attempt, but now it looks like that trend's broken, and now we're getting some serious red candles here. The space seems to be under pressure, and this is one of the best ones.
Yeah,
this is one of the best ones.
All right, so here's the thing, though, Ed.
Good company.
Technically, these companies are punching through the Bollinger Band to the downside repeatedly, and they're not performing in that they're not returning to the inside of the band.
Well, they're you know what they're doing? A lot of times they get below it and then they move sideways into the band, but
Right.
it takes longer.
Well-
and that's the sign. I just got nailed on Tilray
Yeah.
3 times in a row. You know what? I stopped doing it today.
Did you?
It felt better.
Did you?
Yeah, I was upset I didn't lose any money.
Ah.
No, you look. If you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results,
You're crazy.
you're crazy.
Told you, you're in the insane asylum. This is your treatment.
Yeah. No. Look I like having these discussions with you. You're obviously a guy that thinks about things, but sure.
No, not really.
You know, and when I've carried losers for so long, when the fun's over,
Yeah.
nobody wants to come back with the toys and say,
No.
you know. That's why the game keeps changing.
Yeah. A big shout out to our sponsor, Halo Labs. Halo Labs trading on the NEO exchange under the symbol HALO, and also trading in the United States under the symbol, what is the symbol? Oh. Nope, that's not. AGEEF in the United States and A9KN in Germany. That's about great in Germany. Also, you should go visit Halo Canna at Halo Labs at halocana.com. Halo is the purveyor of premium quality extracts, a la shatter, a la wax, a la live resin, and they make them and distribute them in dab tabs, among other excellent products. These guys are growing state to state by partnering with other multi-state operators in a white labeled program. So keep your eye on our client and our friends at Halo Labs. Other stocks that we want to look at today, Cureleaf. Nico Domi keeps talking about Cureleaf, so let's go see why she's so excited about Cureleaf. Nika, maybe
I see it going by right now at $8.52, down 8 cents.
down 8 cents. Well, that's not so bad.
That's
respectable.
It's not a win though.
Well, it's not an up day, but show me a stock. Let's find out which cannabis stocks in each market are having an up day, because okay, first we'll start with the large caps. And let's see, Hexo is up 0.66%.
0.66%.
Yeah.
So that's less than 1%.
That's correct. That's 0.6%,
Yeah.
arguably.
6.6 tenths.
Or 0.6600.
Is that 6 pence or 6 tenths?
Afria is the best performer in the large caps, up 2.31% or 20 cents. Those are the only two ones up among the large caps. Now, let's go back and see what's up among the small caps, because that could be very different. Cresco Labs is actually up 0.65%, 7 cents to,
Yeah.
oh, where'd they
Yeah.
go? 10.89. Let's see, what else we got here? Buckwheat MD actually added 1.31%.
I just got the chart right on. I'm looking at that chart as we speak.
Look at you. We're locked. We're like mind melded, Edward. We're like, okay, Cameron wants to be out here.
I'm going to do the
Jesus.
Spock, the mind.
What is wrong with you guys?
Let's do the mind meld.
Okay, ready? All right. Bam. Body and Mind is up 1.19% to 85 cents.
Wow.
Harvest Health and Recreation is up 0.3% to 611. Okay, those are the small caps that are up. Like, those are the only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 companies out of 70 in the small cap world. That's fascinating. Let's take a look at some of the venture index stocks now. So the only stocks on here are companies that trade on the venture. And in the green space, again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But the leader is Nutrisci. Well, it's a 6-cent stock, so it's up almost 10% by being up a penny. So
Nutrisci, flying.
Nutrisci, yeah. Relivium Technologies, again, a penny, up 8.3. So really, nothing is up. Nothing, like the only companies that are up are like, look at CO2 Grow. Now this is one, I want to pull up a chart of this because this is a company that, well, it did actually get way up there back in May. I wasn't even watching. Look at that. It was up at 61 cents. And now it's back down to, we could have bought that at 21 cents all day back in September. Well, look at that. But yeah, so nothing is doing well. The sector is decidedly weak. Last weeks of summer here, and the question is the reversal going to happen in September? And my bet is that not if the S&P and Dow are going to be seeking lower levels. Pull up that S&P again, Edward, in the like the 5-day look.
Okay, 5-day look?
Yeah, let's see what it looks like over 5 days and see if we can determine what the technicals tell us about what next week holds.
I think we'll give that a shot.
All right.
But in the meantime,
Yes.
let's see if I know how to do this. And there I do. Okay, so when we got on, it was down 60, the S&P.
okay.
Okay, down 60.
That's the 1-year look.
And right now,
Look at the RSIs.
okay, let's put up let's put up a 10-day.
Okay, 10-day.
Okay, here we go, 10-day. So this is
Whoa.
one day. This is 1 day. Remember yesterday?
This is the 10-day or this is 1 day?
This is 10-day.
10-day, okay.
So this is the move today.
Yeah.
Wait, here we go.
Okay, so if I was a betting man, which I am, I would bet that is going to be the pattern we're faced with next week. Now, okay, so Donald Trump, obviously glued to markets and their performance, and to a large extent that determines what flops out of his mouth. Doesn't necessarily mean he has any intention of following through, but he just says things to get a reaction in the market, right?
Yeah, this market, I think the market's now down 85 S&P points, and that doesn't happen very often.
That's a swoon.
That something's changed here again, and gold is the
Beneficiary.
the benefitter,
Benefit. The benefitee.
the benefitee, and yeah.
Benefitee.
Look, this
Benefitee,
S&P,
benefitoo.
ladies and gentlemen, this thing rolled over so fast. These average sign, what was that? What's that noise? Oh, okay. I thought maybe I scared you or something. You're shaking. It's turned, it's rolled here, and you know what? All it means is that these lines that are now starting to point down. Here, let's show everybody how to do this. That's going down, down. The big red line is starting to flatten out, and you know that it flattens out. It flattened out here, so it can go up. It can do whatever it wants. But right now, if this breaks, I think that the next big move will be down to here, and if that breaks, then we'll probably see gold higher.
Yeah.
And it'll be difficult for the marijuana sector to separate itself from that morass.
Yeah.
That's what. Never mind. I'm not going to say.
Let's say hello to some of our friends online here. Matthew Bradshaw, hello. Modern Picasso is back. Hello, Modern Picasso. Nika's there, of course, every day. She says to look at Ianthus. It's going up a bit. Let's take a look at Ianthus, Ed. Pull up the chart of that.
Why don't we do that?
Huh? Why don't we do that?
Why don't we do that?
Something going up.
IAN. Dun, 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 dun. No, that's not it.
Ianthus, IAN.
On the
CSE.
which means I put in CNX.
It's in the bottom right corner.
There we go.
Look at that. They're compensating for our slowness. Your slowness, not my slowness.
Well,
my slowness is slower than
you know,
that.
I mean, you can say, look, if you look at that, okay, and just count the number of red candles and count the number of green candles, right?
Yeah.
So there's a pattern there.
Yeah.
It's sort of overwhelming.
Yeah.
Now let's go to a 1 year.
Jason Garza says everybody should go home and enjoy their families. That's a good one, eh? Good one from Jason Garza. You win the smartest comment of the day award. Hilarious.
Yeah. Well, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
This was a bit of a swoon today. The S&P was down 88.
Yeah, well,
But I don't think I've ever seen it down 100.
Imagine how many people buggered off to the cottage today thinking, it's Friday. Nothing big ever happens on Friday. They're going to come back.
Uh-oh.
The cannabis stocks are at all-time lows. The S&P's at a near record one-day drop. And the price of gold has gone up by $30. It's like, nothing ever happens on a Friday. But we're going to keep talking about gold, and we're going to start looking at gold juniors that are worthy of our attention because the cycle goes like this. First gold pops, then the senior producers pop, then the mid-tiers pop, and then it's the juniors' turn. The junior is where you make the most torque if you buy the right ones. At least that's our story, and we're sticking to it. That's our show for this Friday, August 23rd. We hope to see you next week, last week before Labor Day. Thank you very much for joining us. Please don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't already, subscribe to our newsletter at MidasLetter.com.
Listen to this.
Thanks. Bye.